Hello everyone! How boring our lives have become. However, there are still people in this world who carry the spirit of adventure. And if you are a treasure seeker at heart, a hunter of fortune, then not all is lost. Don't just sit at home on your couch. Set off on a journey in search of forgotten hoards and lost artifacts. And with our video, we'll spark your interest in new adventures. So, let's go! In the fall of last year, archaeologists from Russia discovered a massive hoard in Veliki Novgorod, hidden in the last quarter of the 10th century. It consists of approximately 1,800 whole and fragmented silver coins of various origins, as well as more than 80 pieces of jewelry. During the excavation, researchers unearthed the remains of buildings, numerous diverse artifacts, including 12th century birch bark document and a silver ingot found inside a 14th century dwelling. However, the most unexpected discovery was the hoard itself, containing about 1,800 silver coins, both intact and fragmented, along with over 80 pieces of jewelry. The hoard included a Sasanian drum, a German denarius, Byzantine miliaria, Kufic dirhams, and coins minted in Volga, Bulgaria. The latest coin that scholars have been able to date was struck in either 974 or 975, leading them to assume that the hoard was buried in the second half of the 1970s. Additionally, researchers noted that some of the coins bore graffiti. For instance, one of the dirhams featured an engraving of Thor's hammer. Beyond the coins, the hoard also contained 83 other artifacts. Among them were crystal and glass beads, a gilded bronze pendant, and 72 silver ornaments, including a ring and temple ring, 16 buttons, and parts of 2 or 3 necklaces, one of which featured a large cross of the so-called Scandinavian type. According to the scholars, these items were crafted by a highly skilled artisan from high-quality silver. The airplane. It seems that another mystery of vanished aircraft can now be crossed off the list: the disappearance of the twin fuselage seaplane Savoia Marchetti S-55. In 1935, the aircraft went missing in the Khabarovsk taiga in Russia, claiming the lives of 12 people. For a long time, reaching the crash site remained impossible. On June 26, 1935, the plane took off from Alexandrov-Sakhalinsky en route to Khabarovsk. The flight from Sakhalin Island to the mainland was supposed to take 5 hours and 20 minutes. However, just over an hour after departure, all contact with the aircraft was lost. There were 12 people on board, including 3 crew members. Extensive and meticulous search efforts, including aerial photography service, yielded no results. The NKVD even investigated whether the plane had defected to the Japanese. At first glance, it seemed like an ordinary aviation accident, so why all the commotion? According to some reports, the aircraft was actually a cash courier plane, transporting between 1 and 2 million rubles, a massive sum for that time. And over the years, many people, hunters, loggers, stumbled upon the wreckage of the plane, but the authorities had long since abandoned the search. Only dedicated volunteer researchers managed to recover the engines, and a few years later, they gathered the remains of the passengers, which had been scattered across the taiga when the fuselage broke apart upon crashing into the trees on a high ridge. Interestingly, the money was never found, nor was the personal weaponry of the pilots and the couriers. The tomb. Last year, a well-preserved tomb with treasures was discovered in Egypt. An Egyptian-American archaeological expedition uncovered a large tomb dating back to the Middle Kingdom, nearly 4,000 years old. The find was made in the South Asif necropolis in Luxor. This is the first tomb from this era to be found in the area. The tomb contained the remains of 11 individuals, with some graves completely untouched. They belonged to both adult men and women as well as children. The archaeologists were particularly intrigued by the large number of jewels and valuables buried with the deceased. Among the items were various amulets, rings, belts, necklaces, 2 copper mirrors with ivory handles, and bracelets. These items were crafted by highly skilled artisans. One of the mirrors features a polygonal handle, while the other depicts the goddess Hathor. Among the amulets were figurines in the shape of a snake's head, a hawk, and several mythical creatures. The wooden coffins and cloth that wrapped the deceased were severely damaged. Therefore, the greatest value lies in the artifacts that were recovered. Researchers believe that the entire tomb belonged to one family, with the remains of relatives from different generations buried together. The Church Bell Hoard. An extraordinary discovery was made by Polish treasure hunters last year. A huge bell from the church of Saint Michael the Archangel in the village of Yana Górna, located in Subcarpathian Voivodeship, was found. The bell was discovered by forester Waldemar Grzebik from the Berczyński Forestry. It had been remarkably well preserved, even after 95 years since its creation and around 80 years after it had been hidden. Historians explained that the bell had previously been located in the local church, but during World War II, locals removed it and buried it, fearing the church relic would either be destroyed or sent to be melted down for scrap. The forester had heard from local residents about the buried treasure and searched for it for a long time before finally finding it. This bell will now take its rightful place on the church bell tower. Helmets. Battle helmets were discovered in Russia near the city of Звенигород during the construction of the Central Ring Road. The incredible find consisted of 16th century battle helmets. Such artifacts were last found in Russia 17 years ago. What we usually see in museums are later finds from antique collections. Every new helmet discovery is an event in archaeology. The helmets belong to the first half of the 16th century and closely resemble the helmet of Tsar Ivan the Terrible, which is kept in Stockholm, as well as the helmet of Tsarevich Ivan Ivanich, which is displayed in the armory chamber in Moscow. After some minor restoration and study, the armor pieces were handed over to the museum. Viking hoard. A hoard of 300 silver coins and cut Viking jewelry, dating back 1,000 years, was discovered in northern Denmark in the spring of 2023. The hoard is dated to the second half of the 10th century. It was found 8 kilometers from the remains of a Viking ring fortress, one of 5 such structures in Scandinavia. The hoard was divided into 2 parts, which were located 50 meters apart. They were found in a farmer's field. The collection of Danish coins is of great interest to archaeologists. It sheds light on the reign of King Harald I, Blue Tooth, in the second half of the 10th century. He was one of the last Viking rulers, overseeing territories that are now part of Denmark, northern Germany, and some parts of Sweden and Norway. He spread Christianity through his kingdom. On some of the coins, there is a Christian cross on one side. It is believed that this was Harald's way of spreading the Christian message. The hoard is currently being studied by historians and will later be displayed in a museum. That's all for today, friends. If you enjoyed the video, you can support us with a sponsorship or send a super thanks for any amount. Best of luck to all!